Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel Elconin. Welcome to Pre-Market Info.
We have another sell-off here, Joel. Overnight, the DAX getting murdered. Europe down pretty big. The DAX is now down 126 points. Was a lot worse than that earlier on. The E-mini down 10 points here, 1558 and a half. So yesterday's rally, we're giving half of it back here.
And right, you know how I always talk about fading moves off the open and stuff, and then they just keep going the same way? But how about fading moves, like large buy-in balances on the 4 o'clock close here? That's exactly what pushed the index over
Yep,
1570,
yep.
1568.75 close, and then right back down. But we do have a reference point here in the futures. We made a 1555 and a quarter low. The intraday low from yesterday, 1554.50. That's a critical level for the market to hold, or I think we sink right back down to the 1530s.
And you've got a few companies that just reported earnings, and they're not great. Bank America leading the charge down here, Joel, trading at 11.90 right now after closing at 12.28. So Bank America reported 20 cents versus 22, so they missed. And the stock is selling off pretty rapidly, actually, just here. Well, it sold off the bat and kind of consolidated around 12, but starting to sell off here again here. What's the low of the pre-market here, Joel?
1183, excuse me, 1182, and it's found support at 1182 roughly since 7 o'clock this morning. So someone's targeting that 1180 level as support, getting a bounce, not a huge bounce. We talked about this a couple days ago, how the banks and a couple of these other stocks, topped out, way ahead of the market. Bank of
Yes.
America making its high in March. The market continued to rally. But taking a look, really don't have a good reference point on the dailies at this 1180 level, but I'll use it just because of all the volume trading in the pre-market. Below that, you have 1164 low. Coming back on the upside, 12 bucks. I'm sure some offers will be lining up there, but 1208 yesterday's low should be better resistance for you BAC traders.
And if you bring up the chart of Goldman Sachs, it was actually trading down yesterday, believe it or not, after well, it reported earnings, but at the same time, everything was very strong. And actually, Goldman opened fairly strong too, opened around 149, quickly gave all those gains back, tanked down 11 o'clock. We're down in the 142.80. We are got a little bit of a rally, and then now we are sitting back down here again near yesterday's low.
We should argue more on the show because I was talking about how yesterday's low 145.3, 45.53, the 2-day low might hold up as support, and you really beat me up about it. You made me cry after the show. We got a rally. It opened up near that level, but then it just came cratering down. 142.14 was the low from yesterday. Trading at 142.80. I think the only thing that saves this stock from sinking under 140 is the low that you had on April 8th at 141.84. I don't think we've quite got there in the pre-market. Low in the pre-market, 142.30. So things lining up here at the 142 level in Goldman Sachs.
A lot of other stocks here with earnings, but let's stick with the big ones off the bat. Intel last night reported earnings, 40 cents versus 41, so a slight miss. Did say they're going to see single-digit revenue growth for 2013. Initially, the stock spiked. It seems like every time Intel reports earnings,
Explain that to me.
it, it
Explain to me how that happened.
it just seems to do it every single time it reports earnings. Cisco's another one. They seem to get this rally up and right after the report, and then within about 10 or 15 minutes, they start to give back all the gains, and then an hour later, they're down. And that's exactly what happened with Intel. Again, it got a huge spike up on the earnings, up to 75. Didn't last long.
77. Yep.
Yeah, didn't last long. Pulls all the way back down. Then now actually trading even lower. 21.75 is where it's trading down right now. It's down 16 cents.
Right. Starting to find a home here at the 2160 level. It's made that low in the last hour, kind of like the double bottom here on the pre-market chart here. So we'll keep a look at that. I mean, with that erroneous, after markets trading, I think you still have to rely on the daily charts. We were talking about this yesterday. 21.91 was the high you had on the 11th. We got the 93 yesterday, 92 close. I think you get, that's only 15, 20 cents from here. So I think that's going to be real good resistance, potential triple top, and then I'm sure you got some orders kicking around here at the $22 level. Coming back on the downside, the 2160 holding up well in the pre-market. Below that, four consecutive lows within a 13-cent range, 2136 to 2149. So don't give up on the Intel until it breaks that 2136 level.
And YHOO reported earnings too last night, and the stock actually beat pretty handily, 38 cents versus the estimates of 24. The revenue was a bit light, though. I don't think the market liked that. 1.07, I can't speak this morning, 1.07 billion versus 1.1 billion on revenue. So the revenue was light. Beat on the top line, and then Bank of America this morning is upgrading the stock. It's not helping because the stock is trading down still 63 cents here, 23.16. But there you go, another huge spike for YHOO. Joel's pointing it out there on the chart off the earnings. Quickly gives back all those gains, and obviously trading down now.
Right, got to spike up to 24.80 in the pre-market.
Wow,
after
hours, yep.
Came crashing down to 22.55. Now recovering up to hitting a high 23.60, getting some consolidation here. Let's look at the daily charts. We are trading substantially below yesterday's low, 23.75. Let's use that as resistance. Coming back on the downside, I like this nice round number of 23.01. I know we usually wait to the end of the show to do our questions, but Mark just threw in a question here. Is that, do you ever try and hop in those frecases, when they, the flash trade, when, they announce the Intel or Cisco earnings or things like that? Do you just put some, something like 9 standard deviations away, or do you try and play the reaction?
Depends the stock. It depends on the stock. If it's a stock as thick as Intel, yes. If it's something, like for instance, like BK or something this morning, which reported earnings, it's too thin to really make markets in, and the stock can move even more. So it all depends on the stock. I always analyze it from a risk return perspective, and if it's something thick, even like a General Electric or something like that, for sure, I think when you get a move that big, and and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like Coca-Cola yesterday, I was trying it with Coke too. I did not think Coke could go up $2. I was dead wrong on that. Obviously, I was telling you that in the pre-market I was selling at that 41.50 level. I actually did get covered down there because it opened below there, so it ended up being green, but I was still wrong with the call. It's one of those trades you actually make money, but you're wrong with the call. When it blew through 41.50 yesterday, it was just gone. Obviously went up all the way to almost 42.50. So sometimes just playing it that way can work. Sometimes it doesn't. It's all just a matter of risk return. So we show you these spikes, and in hindsight, they look like great sells. But sometimes there's follow through too. So it doesn't always work. But at the same time, there's definitely opportunity there if you make the right call.
So basically, it's volume. If you'll step into one of this issue if there's substantial volume, or it's not like a stock like Netflix or LinkedIn or something like that. So volume is a criteria. Okay, I think that's a great answer.
Yeah,
okay,
for sure.
Sorry to digress.
No problem. Looking here further, Abbott Labs did well. Let's start with the BK because I just mentioned it. Bank of New York Mellon did report earnings here this morning, and they missed 50 cents versus 52. But if you look at this, only traded 900 shares. So it's hard for me to really get a gauge, and it's hard for us to really get a gauge of where this stock is going to open. We know right now it's offered at 27. We know it's probably going to open down because they missed earnings. How low is it going to go, though? That's the big question. This is a stock that had a pretty wild range 2 days ago, just reported earnings. It's kind of open. 26.60 to 27 is the current market on it right now. But when there's only 900 shares, it's kind of a guessing game as to how low it can go. So that's why on something like this, I'm more hesitant to put bids out to call a bottom on something like this.
Right, and I think we've also discussed this in the show. A lot of times with pre-market activity, if you can exit a winning position,
sometimes
it's much better. Yeah, like for example, if you're short the BK here, it's almost down to stick. I mean, if you can get a 26.85, that was the low on April 5th. I mean, I'd be looking at that as, a potential level. You could be out there making a market right now, right? What's the best bid in that thing?
26.60. So if you went 26.85, you'd be the best market. So if you were bringing in a short, I'd say maybe that works. The problem is they missed by 2 cents. We got the market down 10 points. So if you're initiating a long here, there's a lot of unknowns. But if you're bringing in a short, it does look pretty attractive to cover BK when you get $1 off it, because it's a stock that typically moves around only about 40-50 cents. So it's 2 standard deviations down right now off its earnings. But with the miss and with the big market sell-off, I could see how it could fall $1.50 too. So I don't think you're going to see $26 or anything on it, but that's just the way you've always got to analyze from a risk return perspective. And here's PNC too. Joel's bringing it up. They reported earnings too. This stock hasn't even made a trade here this morning, so very hard to gauge. But they beat big time. $1.76 versus
Yeah.
a $1.57.
Come on, why aren't they bidding this thing up like
Well, they're
6?
Well, it is bid up. It's bid up at 64.80. Somebody's been sitting there all morning for 900 shares bidding 64.80. So that's telling me it's probably going to open up. It's just a matter of how much it opens up. Somebody's offered at 66, so it's got a $1.20 spread right now, and nobody's willing to make a tighter market because nobody really knows where the value is right now. So, I mean, somebody's willing to sell at $1.20 up. Maybe that guy's long. And then I can see another guy up at 66.95. Well, we know the 67 area has been pretty good resistance on this stock for a while, so that could be somebody trying to initiate a short further up. So maybe the 66 seller, because he's kind of in the middle of nowhere, maybe is just bringing in selling along, and maybe the 66.95 guy's actually initiating a short because he's probably got a level up there around 67.
Right, and one other thing, just on the pre-market, just going back to that BK example, the spread is what, 26.60 to 27 right now. You could go 26.70 bid, and if no one hits you, that's a sign. If you immediately put a bid out there and you get peppered on it,
oh yeah,
then there might be an institutions, but sometimes just putting an order out and not even getting executed on it can really give you a feel for what a stock's going to do.
And if you're trading in size, if you're a size trader that trades 2,000, 1,000, 2,000 shares on your positions, 100 share feelers are sometimes great ideas on these trades, just to feel, okay, I'll throw out 100 shares. I don't care if I lose $1 on 100 shares, because $100 is nothing to me when I'm that size of a trader. Throwing out 100 share feeler orders sometimes works well. The only thing is, if I'm short, I hate to show any strength in the stock, so I hate to bid the thing, just because if I was short the thing, if I was short 2,000, I'd probably be more inclined to throw out an offer than I would have bid, because I want to show a little more weakness than I do strength, because I want the stock obviously to fall further because I'm short it. So, but there's interesting stuff.
I know what you would do.
What's
There's
that?
a 27 offer. You'd probably put like 10,000 at 27.20.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be. That would be layering, so I don't do that. So,
Okay.
but yeah,
All right, what else do we need?
traders
to cover
do that
today?
kind of stuff, though. I mean, they definitely do that kind of stuff.
No.
A lot of games
No,
are
they-
played. It's a big game of poker, the stock trading. So lots of games played all the time. Mattel had earnings here, Joel. They actually beat 11 cents versus 9 cents, so big 2-cent beat for Mattel. And the stock is lifting nicely here this morning on only 1,600 shares, so very light volume. But it is up $1.02 at $44, and it is bid up there at $44. And this just, I always look at how long a stock has been bid. That's a good tell too. Like if you obviously, like Joel says, if he bid it at 44 and it gets hit right away, that's telling me that somebody's willing to sell that level. When it's bid at 44 and nobody's hitting them, that's telling me there's not any sellers there, obviously, and maybe the stock could actually go higher. But looking at the charts on this one, you can see lots of resistance up here in the whole 44 to 44.40 area. I think 44.42, the high on the 11th.
Yep.
If we start to break out over there, then you're in breakout mode and the stock's making new highs. And then if you're short, then you're probably pretty nervous.
That's a lot of like G.I. Joes and Tonka toys being sold there. I didn't think kids use those anymore. But look at, quadruple top here. You can call it between the 44.23 and 44.42 area. If you're looking to exit along here, really pittance and volume in this. So, keep an eye out. If you are buying this off the hop, I'd like to see it hold this $44 level. There's a lot of real estate on the downside to 43.25, which was yesterday's low.
I think, though, I've got a feeling this one's going to actually break out and make a new high, just to shake out anybody that's trying to short that level. And I wouldn't be surprised if this thing started to continue this run here. It's kind of that momentum market where it seems like when stocks start getting going and they're moving, that's just hard to break in. And that's what we've seen. And that's what we were seeing even yesterday, Joel. It was a funny rally yesterday. We were talking about this before we started the show. You had a lot of stocks that were actually very weak yesterday, despite the market being up 25 points. Deere was trading down. Caterpillar was trading down. Verizon was trading down. That's crazy, actually. You never used to see that last year. When this market's up that much, the cyclicals here, taking it, a few of them trading down. Yeah, and Verizon trading down. It was very surprising how weak some of these stocks were, and it was kind of sporadic. The real strength yesterday was from your consumer products. Like Colgate was up strong, Clorox was up, General Mills was up. Some of your food stocks, Campbell's Soup was up. These were the stocks that were leading the rally, and that's kind of a scary thought when your consumer products are the stocks that are now leading a rally, because they typically are more defensive issues as opposed to, big growth stocks.
How about this Johnson and Johnson? Did you get run over in that at all?
Just moving. Well, you had Coke with the great earnings. I think a lot of other, consumer products stocks were strong off of the Coke earnings. No, actually, I didn't make too many trades in Johnson and Johnson yesterday, but man, it was a big move for that stock yesterday too. Your classic, consumer product stock there, Johnson and Johnson, making new all-time highs again yesterday.
Okay, as far as the Big Ten, I just want to just bring up a couple stocks here of note. Boy, the oils are weak this morning. I didn't see any specific news related to that. You'd have Chevron Corporation trading below yesterday's low, which was 116.21. But this 116 level, big time
level
support here. Yeah, that's where it's trading now. So maybe a good opportunity to cover a short here at that level. Not a lot of trades in it, but opening up in the support. And actually, you have the other big oil company actually trading below yesterday's low.
Yeah.
86.08, and ExxonMobil currently trading at 86. So you do have some of the big guns, opening up into support. And another stock I just wanted to mention, another stock that was on a tear.
Pfizer.
But yeah, Pfizer, just right at the end of the day, ran right smack into that 30.99 number. I'm not sure what kind of
huge sellers up there at 31.
Huge size at
400,000
31.
shares there, yeah. So that's
Yeah,
going to be the
so-
first major area to test there. It's got to take out that 31 if it's going to end up going higher there, because 31
And then I
big
also
sellers.
just, to finish up on the Big Ten, I just want to alert our traders here to the triple bottom in Pfizer. 30.45 was your low on Friday and Monday. You hit 30.48 yesterday. We're 25 cents away from there. I could get a bounce off it the first time, but under 30.45, I think you're going to this $30 level. But support is support until it's taken out.
Got a couple big guns reporting tonight. Let's just do a quick technical on those. eBay is going to report earnings tonight, and American Express. Starting with eBay, though, obviously eBay down here about 27 cents with the market. So down a little bit with the overall market here, but the big number up there, and Joel can point it out, is going to be around that $58 level, where you've basically got that double top. But I mean, earnings can blow that through. eBay, we've watched eBay move $2, $3, $4 on earnings before, so it's not out of the realm of that $58 level. I think today, obviously, for the intraday trading, 58's major resistance up there if it gets this pre-earnings run. But after earnings, anything can happen. Obviously, technicals take a back seat when fundamentals are happening.
Yeah, that's tough. If you're looking to lighten up ahead of earnings, 58.04, I believe that's the all-time high in the stock too. Keep an eye on that. And just on the downside here, really, it was really a nice fill gap here. You had a 54.50 low to fill the gap from a 54.51 high and a 28. So I like that level as major support. Playing that range, you're looking to cover short going into that. Look at that, below that 54.50. We never like to see candlesticks like that. So 54.50, 58, your parameters for eBay.
Then you had American Express. They're going to report earnings tonight as well. Major level of resistance on this is up here in these upper 65s, just below the big $66 level. You had a double top from the 11th and the 12th at 65.92 and 65.85. I'm looking at that area as providing resistance. Obviously, if we get above there, then all bets are off. But I think you might find some initial resistance if they report decent earnings tomorrow. Or tonight.
Yesterday, you kind of have a double bottom that you're trading through here, 64.09, 64.27. Not a huge amount of volume here. Let's look at the low in the pre-market activity for this stock. 64, just kind of sitting there. I don't think I'd get too fooled by a break it below 64 because you also have this low at 63.67 to contend with.
Just finished with the overall. Actually, we should just mention gold here briefly because it's bounced around here a lot in the last, like since we started the show. GLD was trading up. I watched it go red. If you bring up the pre-market chart there, Joel, you'll see all this action that I'm talking
Sure.
about. 133.90 is where it was. So up a buck 10 right now. But when we started the show, it was slightly green. The GLD trading around 133.20. Then I watched it go red. It went all the way down to about 132.60. Now it's spiked back up here to 133.88. So finally, you are seeing a little bit of a relief rally here in gold, being up $1.10 here. And this is what's supposed to happen. When the market goes down, gold is supposed to lift. Lately, gold has just been going down no matter what the market does. So it is nice to see gold get a little bit of lift here this morning. I would have been real nervous if you see gold down on a day that we're down 11 points in the market.
Yeah, you know what led the charge yesterday? Brent on the news desk pointed out this ABX, man. That
Oh
thing
man,
just got annihilated.
again.
And yeah, I mean, it just
It opened at the high.
obliterated.
It
Yeah,
opened at the high. The last 2 days in a row, this stock has opened at the high basically and just got killed all day. And it did the same thing again yesterday. I actually did get a short on it yesterday. I was looking at how relatively weak it was, and I shorted at 1945. I ended up covering around the $19 area. I wish I would have held a little bit longer. Ended up going down to 1870, but I did get a little short on the ABX. But that's just gold miners are just weak. Like when you look at these stocks overall and you analyze them, they're trading like gold is going a hell of a lot lower. Like the cost of production on ABX, I think their cost of production is around $1,000 an ounce. So when you figure if gold's still up 1,300, they should still be able to make money. But they're pricing this ABX stock as like it's not going to make money in the future. So I don't know. That's telling me gold actually might end up going lower here if ABX is right. It's crazy.
right. You do have a reference point here in the Newmont. It matched Monday's low, 33.51, 35.53. So if you're looking to cover a short, I think the bids will be stepping out at the 33.50 to 33.60 level. Let's get your overall market opinion here, Mr. Bull. The SPOO's down 1075 at 1558. Is this just another golden opportunity to get long off the open?
I'm nervous. I'm nervous this time around because you have so many stocks that were not participating yesterday. So many, when you don't have Caterpillar participating, you don't have Deere participating. You have ExxonMobil cutting through its lows here, this morning. You didn't have Verizon. You had a lot of different stocks not participating, and then you had the more traditional defensive names that were leading the charge. That's telling me that people are nervous overall. They're not going to the growth sectors. They're going into stability. They're looking for a home in stability, and I think that's telling me that maybe the short-term top is in. So very nervous. I think obviously we need to hold the low there that we made from a couple days ago down there in the 1540 area, but we start. It's just not good here that I don't like seeing that rotation out of those cyclicals
Okay.
and out of those more aggressive names.
Okay, and just shorter term for our traders, you got an overnight low, 15.55 and a quarter. Intraday low from yesterday, 54 and a half. That's your area of support. You hold there. I think we bounce up and spend a little time in the 1560s. Below this 1554.50, you don't have a lot of support. You got minor support at 1550.50. That's not easy to say. And then yesterday's Globex low at 1542.50.
That's our show for today, guys. Have a great trading session, and we will be back with you tomorrow.